Hey, I'm May Bonner, and this is Real Conversations, the series where we interview filmmakers leading up to the festival on July 27th. Today I'm here with Jo Knorpp, the director and animator for Processing Magic, a short animated film about a dragon who's having a bit more trouble in magic school than anticipated. So Jo, I was wondering if you could get us started by just telling us a little bit about yourself and your background in film.
Yeah, I've been an animator for like a while. Even before college, I was very interested in animation. I love animation, but I also just it wasn't necessarily the thing I was originally intending to do. But I just knew I wanted to go into storytelling of some sort and like entertainment. So
Yeah, that's great. Um, all right, so how did you decide on the subject of this film? Where did the idea sort of come from?
so the idea actually came from I was helping teach assistant for a like a animation summer intensive here at UNCSA, and I had met a student who said that they weren't sure if they ever wanted to or would be able to go to college because of their autism, and that was kind of what sparked the idea of processing magic. Though the story itself is a lot of like my personal experiences and like, personal experiences of like my crew and stuff. So
Yeah. Um, and so you've already sort of just went into this a little bit, but the film deals with a lot of topics of learning difficulties and not really feeling like you fit in or reach the same standards as some of your peers at times. Um, so I was wondering whether that idea developed at all over time, and what that process might have looked like if so.
you broke up a little bit during your question. What was that again?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was just asking whether the sort of core idea of what this film tackles, whether that developed over time at all, and whether that changed at all, and what that process looked like if so.
Honestly, not really. We had the it's funny because the story never diverged too much from my original boards. I boarded this originally, and while it had minor changes for like framing and stuff along the way, whenever we would go in and like take our animatic in for reviews with peers and like our professors, everyone just said the story was really clear, so we mostly kept it the same the whole time. There was like story changes for like framing though, and to make things even more clear.
Okay, cool. Um, so going a bit more into that, what was the animation process like for this project?
So we it was pretty standard. We had our original boards, and then we went to animatic, and from there we just cleaned up and colored from there. There was some process along the way where we had to sit down and like actually design some things, like design all the wizards and all the background wizards and Molly's friends and like all the extra dragon at the end and such. So
Yeah, that actually goes pretty well into my next question. So the designs for the characters are relatively simple and easy to animate, but very well put together. So I was wondering what that sort of design process was like for the characters in the world.
thank you. Yeah, the definitely the backgrounds were all done by my background artist Hugh, and then I was helped out with designing and animating a lot of the wizards by one of my lead animators, Cameron. Though I ended up doing like a lot of the color picking. I picked a lot of the colors and how everything kind of fit together, especially for like the background wizards and how they all like fit within the world. So
Yeah, great. Um, so one question I have is, were there any parts of the idea you had for this film that weren't able to quite make it in that you would have wanted to be there? Or did you get sort of everything you wanted to talk about within this film?
I think story wise, I got what I wanted. I think with more time and just like less constraints, we could have made the visuals a little better. I think, but it was a simple idea to begin with. I wasn't going for anything particularly crazy with processing magic. So I love the idea though. I don't know if there's much that I wish I could have done differently besides maybe like clean up some of the animation a little more.
That's fair. Um, so during production, did you run into any issues or roadblocks at any point?
Some. We're mostly just in terms of like trying to organize with everyone. Communication is really hard in like a production, as anyone who's been on the production knows. So there was times where we were trying to get work back and it would just be hard to find people. But everyone got as much as they could done in the end and it all worked out. We brought in some extra people at the end to help us out. So it all got finished.
All right, cool. Um, all right, so I think we're actually wrapping up pretty quickly here. But the one other question I have for you is if there's one thing that you can have your viewers take away from the film, what would it be?
I think it's just to never let any difficulties that you have in any sort of educational process discourage you from wanting to learn. There's resources out there to help you, even if they're not right there in front of you. So,
Great. All right, so do you have any social media where people can keep up with like you or the project at all? Like
oh
where it's going
gosh,
to maybe?
I don't know if this project is going anywhere like big and grand. This is just my 30-year thesis film, but I guess I have a Twitter at Shine Wolf Studio. So,
All right, great. Well, thank you for joining us and taking this interview, and thank you to everyone for watching. This has been Real Conversations.